Welcome back. Now, in our regular democracy gauge feature, you rate the state of our democracy within three colors. Well, green on the one hand means that our democracy is healthy, yellow means that we must be cautious, and red means that our democracy is in danger. Now, Professor Ben Turok is a political theorist who spent years fighting the apartheid government in South Africa, an ANC member. He was not only one of the founding members of the Mkhonto Wesizwe, but also a contributor to the South African Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Now, today, Turok spends his time doing research for the Institute for African Alternatives and writing papers on issues affecting the South African socio-economic and political landscape. Now, Turok says he is very much disappointed in the state of the country as it is today.
My name is Professor Ben Turok. I'm a researcher, a former professor, and at the moment, having left Parliament, I am a director of the Institute for African Alternatives. And we do research there, we do policy research, we publish a journal called New Agenda, and we're very busy. We were still drafting the final constitution. And when I read the draft, I was rather surprised to see that there was hardly any socio-economic rights. Now, I had been in London, I've been living in London, and I was helping the United Nations Commission for Human Rights in relation to the Convention on Socio-Economic Rights. There's a document. And I worked in Geneva for a bit and here and there. And so I was very familiar with the United Nations Commission report on human rights. And so when I read the draft bill, yes it was, I was struck that the socio-economic rights were really treated in passing. In fact, they were hardly there. And so I went to see Finkhaysen, who was Madiba's legal advisor in Tenhuis, and knocked on his door, and I went in and I said to him, look, I've this and that, and I'm concerned. And we had a discussion, and he said, well, have you got any documentation? So I said, yes, I can get some for you straight away. And a week later he phoned me and he said, you're right. And we're going to put in socio-economic clauses. I was delighted, you know. I thought this is so important. All of us are very disappointed with what's happening. And we're disappointed because, well, firstly to say that we're disappointed because of the 9 lost years under Zuma. You know, really, I was in Parliament for that period, for that part of that period, because I left, I was fed up. And I left it 4 years ago because I didn't want to continue under Zuma. You know, in 1994, we did not have a plan, an economic plan. There was no plan for government. I mean, the ANC was not really ready to govern. I mean, you know, we had that big conference called Ready to Govern. I was there. I was in the Economics Commission with Mandela and Joe Slovo and all those people. And we discussed in very broad terms, but we didn't have a plan. And we're paying the price for that. We made mistakes from the beginning in not pursuing. The RDP was cancelled. I mean, I was head of the RDP in Gauteng, you know, the commission. And it was closed down by Mbeki. So, you know, we have made mistakes from the first go because we were not prepared, and partly because we were influenced too much by Europe and by the United States. I'm yellow.
Why?
Because we have done quite a lot, but we're also doing a lot of things badly. And we have to wake up and fix it. If we don't fix it, we will go down the drain.
Well, interesting views there from Professor Ben Turok. Now, today's insert has been produced by Abra Barbia and Sihle Mkhize, and the Democracy Gauge is powered by the SABC News. Democracy Gauge and powered by SABC News, and it acknowledges all citizens.